Anyways, where the fuck was I? Yeah, so with the level 1 talent, you're actually in charge of your block charges. So you build 2 block charges, you go into combat, and as soon as you lose a block charge, you can immediately W, gain another block charge. I've gone over this like 4 times because of Twitch. Thanks, Twitch. So anyways, your second ability probably be, and this is for a pure solo warrior build, is Templar Zeal. And that's mostly because there aren't that many good talents this tier. Like Shield Battery, I don't think you're ever going to breach your maximum duration. If you're in the middle of a fight, things are bringing your shield down. That's pretty much never going to be helpful. Lethal Alacrity, wow, I'm bad at speaking. Lethal Alacrity, I think, is okay, but it doesn't give you anything really except, like, less time that you're uncontrollable. Now, while that can be good in some instances where they have, like, maybe a high range comp, so you want to stay here and they have people over here and you're like, oh, I just kind of want to go in, do a little damage, walk out, and not get hit by these people. Maybe you're just poking or something, and that can help you take a little less poke damage, but overall, I don't think it's that great. But this essentially means that if you're not getting healed, which you really shouldn't be getting healed late game that much, you should kind of have a healer that knows how to keep you in the danger zone where you're under 50% but your shield is up. So this is going to give you a lot of damage and mobility, kind of mobility. I wouldn't really call his Q a mobility skill, even though it moves you, because you're locked in that state. You cannot cancel out of it. Next on the solo warriorness is psionic synergy. So what you do is every time you hit with blade dash, you gain, or you cut off 2 seconds of your shield overload, right? Which is pretty amazing, because if you consider each hit backward and forward reduces your shield time. And if you're hitting 3 people on top of that, you're going to be recharging your shield amazingly fast. Now imagine if I hit 3 people with that. My shield would be up all the time. And that's really important if you're going to be a solo warrior, because your entire survivability mechanic as Artanis comes from your passive and mitigating damage with your shields. So this can mean that you have your shield procced, you're at 50%, and within the next 2 seconds, you cool down your shield because you've hit 3 or 4 people with blade dash both ways, and your shield's off cooldown. So your healer doesn't have to worry about you. He can keep you at 40% health, hopefully around there, and you can have your shield right back up. You take more damage, shield immediately procs. Because you're at low health, you've got 75% faster cooldown on this. You take damage so your shield is down, you blade dash again, your shield comes back up, and you repeat that nasty cycle. And for ults, I think if you're a solo warrior, chances are you're going to have suppression pulse, because this is, again, just another way to mitigate damage. It is a very, very large area. And even though it has a delay on it, in the middle of a team fight, it's going to be hard for people to just walk out of that. Especially the heroes that this shuts down. Like Illidan, he has, if you time it so he doesn't have a mobility option up, he's going to have a very hard time getting out of the circle. And not just that, but a character like Butcher or Thrall is going to have problems walking out anyway, because they're in the middle of it. So if you put the circle on them, they're going to have a hard time walking out. And this is also good because it's global. And you know, in quick match, there's always that guy who has to fuck around by himself, even though it's 20 minutes and one person dying is going to cost you the game. So you can maybe save them with that. And for level 13, you really, like, actually, you know what, I would say if you are a solo warrior, phase bulwark is probably what you have to get. But if you have enough, like let's say you get 2 healers, you probably don't need phase bulwark that much, even though with 2 healers this would make you unkillable if you're continually proccing your shield with your Q and your auto attacks off twin blades. But if you feel like you don't need phase bulwark, this gives you like a lot of front-loaded absorption. But if you don't feel like you need it, Triple Strike is so good. This gives you so much damage, and again, cooldowns, your shield cooldown. And for 16, what was that one? Yeah, oh wait, no, this, I misspoke, sorry. I was thinking this was the 16 talent, where you get 50% more shields for 3 seconds. Okay, this is the 50% less ability damage. So, this is very good to shut down burst mage comps. So if you come against, like, Jaina Kale and you dive the back line, your shield's going to proc and they're going to cry at their damage. Like, they'll be able to get you to 50%, but it's going to be hard for them to kill you. And if you aren't against a team comp that can actually threaten you with abilities, Triple Strike, always the way to go. It's just so good. I'm not really sure how Gravitation Vortex works, because like I said, I haven't actually played him. This is all mostly just me talking out my ass. But I would assume this would be okay if the enemy team likes to disengage a lot. But it's probably not even first or second priority. Yeah, so solo tank, you probably want to get Shield Surge at 16 because this gives you a lot of mitigation. And you know, he is a shield tank, so you just want to be there absorbing your damage, going nuts with your shields, continually proccing your shields, getting them off cooldown with your Q. And if you don't feel like you need that, you might want to get Titan Killer. Like, this shreds tanks so hard. Like, if you went Triple Strike, like, this is ridiculous. That's just so much damage. 7.5% from one ability. That's ridiculous. But yeah, so solo tank, it's probably the best to have Shield Surge because, again, 3 seconds is a long time, especially if we're talking about, you know, MOBA time. And it just gives you a ridiculous amount of shields, because that's 50% more of almost 1,200 shields at around level 12. That is more than a shield from Tassadar. And just the frequency you're actually going to have your passive up makes this insanely good. But again, like I said, if you don't feel like you need the survivability, Titan Killer is probably the best thing to go as a secondary. But I'm just assuming a situation where you are a solo tank in quick match. And then I like his level 20 because level 20 allows you to fill in your gaps. Like, if your team needs a little more damage, then you can go Nexus Blades. This will give you the ability to take down a target just a little faster. You know, if you're like, wow, everyone is focusing me so hard and I need more shields all the time, Force of Will give you that shorter cooldown on your shields. And if you're like, wow, we're getting wrecked in team fights, Orbital Bombardment basically makes it so no one can ever auto-attack you. Because this is already a 4-second duration. So you have a 6-second gap between, you know, the first and the second where they're blinded. And that's 8 seconds in probably every team fight at the end of the game that they will be just not auto-attacking. It just will not be possible. And that's ridiculously good. Just good luck, Illidan. That's all you can really say. And while its damage is low, it's still, well, I wouldn't even say low. 300 damage is still kind of a lot for an ult that also, like, this is going to get nerfed so hard. 300 damage and 4 seconds of blind, that will be, I get it. It's just too good.